Welcome everyone to the Environmental Services Committee meeting, and apologies for being slightly late. I'd like to declare the meeting open at 10:05 a.m. and welcome Mayor Nigel, fellow councillors, and we also have Community Board members Nicola Nimmo from Temuka, Ross Munro from Pleasant Point and Rosie Woods from Geraldine, so welcome everyone. I'd like to call for apologies, please. No apologies. Good.
Just Councillor Oliver. Is he here? No, he did
Yeah,
dip
okay.
out. He'll be back later.
Okay, so just an apology from Councillor Oliver. Anyone else? Would you like to move them, Nigel? Thank you. A seconder. Thank you, Councillor Booth. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. I haven't received any items of urgent business. Are there any that need to be raised? No. Any matters of a minor nature? No, thank you. Are there any declarations of conflicts of interest for anything on the agenda today? No, so we'll move on to item number 5, which is the Chair's report. So since our last meeting, outside of normal council meetings that everyone goes to, I have attended a menacing dog hearing. I've met with Mayor Nigel with a group of farmers to discuss their concerns around the district plan. I've attended a number of workshops around the climate change strategy that's happening, one on domestic food resilience, one on low emissions transport and one on water supply resiliency. Myself and Councillor Jackson attended some LAP training workshop, local alcohol policy workshop. I was a speaker at the Pleasant Point Lions, attended the OTOP meeting. I attended the Canterbury Climate Change Action Planning Reference Group and attended a 2-day course in Auckland around making good decisions on the RMA, and also a regional energy transformation accelerator meeting hosted by Venture Timaru last week. So that's my Chair's report. If anyone has any questions about any of those. No, so move the adoption of my Chair's report. Is there anyone who would like to second that? Thank you, Councillor Jackson. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. So we'll just move on to item number 6, the confirmation of minutes. So the recommendation is that the minutes of the Environmental Services Committee meeting held on the 31st of January 2023 be confirmed as a true and correct record of that meeting, and that the chairperson's electronic signature be attached. Do I have someone to move that? Thank you, Councillor Shannon, and seconded Mayor Nigel. Is there any omissions or corrections to those minutes? If not, all in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Thanks very much. So we'll move on to the one and only report we have for this meeting, which is a report on the submission that Council has made on the proposed district plan, and we have Hamish Burrell and Megan Ging to present on that report. So I'll just welcome you both and let you speak to your report. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The report really is around the submission that council units have been involved and put together following the release of the proposed district plan. The main areas for the aspects were mainly from the water team, the city town team, and there's also some relatively minor points from LTU as well. So did you want to add anything, Megan, on this?
And also including some corrections. We only realised after the plan was notified, so council putting their own submission is a good chance to correct those minor errors through the process.
Yeah, so happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thanks, Hamish and Megan. I thought it was a good report. I thought, the points that were made were relevant and the corrections were good, and it's a good opportunity to make sure that we have a district plan that's fit for purpose and workable. There are probably a couple of areas that didn't necessarily agree with and encourage you to keep in mind the effects on landowners of what some of those rules mean. But, I thought it was great, and I think those issues will get washed out as we work through the process, so thank you. Any questions from councillors? Councillor Booth.
Just in the, is it appropriate that we're changing this wording when we actually haven't accepted the Three Waters at this stage?
Okay.
That's a really good question. The challenge is that we don't really know where that's going to end up. Again, though, I mean, this reflects not so much planning's intentions, but the best intentions of the Water Services Department at this time. When we get further into the process, the report authors who will assess these submissions will be in a better position to know where things stand, and there's absolutely every ability to amend or withdraw a submission in due course.
I just feel it's that we're council's infrastructure, that's our ratepayers, and it's becoming public infrastructure, which is like a change of ownership.
Yep. Yeah, it's there as a placeholder, the submission points, and it's something that they felt reflects the need to integrate, and we will need to work with whatever grouping of water services there is in the district in the future.
Just further, I see you've recommended amendments. The city-town requests, that's to be further fleshed out for what the changes are required to be made to help enact some of the activities that they'd like to change.
Yeah, so one thing to clarify, that the submission here, council is not treated any different from any other submitters in this process. So this is only council's different unit submission into the process. So it doesn't mean what this submission requests will be the end result through the hearing, because all the requests will be going through the just normal hearing channels, and the panel would hear all those submission points and make a decision based on what they heard in the hearing and with all the written evidence. So all the requests and relief sought included in this document is just at the time how different council units thinking that's the changes they would seek through the process. So this submission won't be treated any differently from any other submitters. Yeah, so it's just slightly two different hats that council currently wearing. So we're not really in the submission, we're the submitter. We're not actually as the council who actually owns and produce the report, the plan. So it's still going to go through the normal channel. Basically what the city town requested was, it wasn't quite a relief sought as such. What they were basically laid out what they would want to say, but they realized this process is not the proper process to actually go through, because the city town decision haven't been made. It's another separate process to go through, and they are aware of once the other process has completed and once a decision was made for the future of the city town, that's the opportunity they can make another plan change to the proposed plan to implement the decision from another process. So their submission is just basically to lay out what they think might happen, but doesn't really request that has to happen, and it's not the right process to go through either. If that clarified it.
Thank you, Megan. Mayor Nigel.
Yeah, one just small question. Now it's page 23, number 33, and it's around drinking water protection zones, and I totally understand the reason for the non-complying activities, but my question was more around what is a definition of vegetation clearance? Because is vegetation clearance, is that getting rid of gorse in the area, or is that getting, I mean, SNAs obviously they can't clear that. I'm just thinking, is that too onerous to have? There's probably a definition, I assume, somewhere of what vegetation clearance means.
There is a definition of vegetation clearance in the proposed plan.
Because although we're wanting to protect those zones, we don't want it to need to have a consent for, something that might be quite minor.
What does that say?
Yeah, I mean, there is a definition under the proposed plan, and look, it's a valid point, and it's something that we'll be working through.
Yeah.
This is essentially just a submission at this stage, and it will be assessed, and like we say, we've got to treat all submitters equally. So this won't be necessarily given. Go
That's
straight
cool.
into
It'll
the
get
plan.
picked up in the process, yeah.
Without
Yeah.
scrutiny.
No, that's fine.
Cool, thank you. Any other questions or comments, feedback? Oh, yes, Hamish.
Just to clarify to Mayor Bowen, it is Indigenous. Vegetation clearance is all about Indigenous vegetation. Yeah.
So it'll be referenced as Indigenous vegetation clearance, or clearance of Indigenous vegetation.
Great, thank you. Well, if there's no other questions or comments, thank you for your report and presentation. That was really great. And as we have no matters of urgent business or matters in minor nature, I can declare the meeting. Oh, sorry, I do say sorry. I always forget. Thank you. Mayor Bowen is going to remove the recommendation of the report. Sorry, just let me zip back to the start of that. Sorry, the recommendation is that the report bringing the Timaru District Council submission to the proposed district plan to the attention of the Environmental Services Committee be received and noted. And so that was moved by Mayor Nigel and seconded by Councillor Burt. Thank you. All in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. Thanks. Thank you. Get it right one day. So yeah, I can declare the meeting closed at, what's the time? 10:17. Thank you.